What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC. Today I thought we'd take a quick look at the Eberlestock Bando bag. This is a hip pack available on their website as well as on Amazon in 6 different colors for $49. If this is just a bit small for you, there's an XL version as well that's available for $59. And honestly, I feel like both of those prices are very affordable, especially if you compare it to some of the larger packs from this brand. They're known for their hunting and outdoor gear and have a great reputation in the community based out of Boise, Idaho. And their bags tend to be significantly more pricey than this one. So at that kind of entry level price point, I found this to be a great deal. Picked this one up probably upwards of 6 months ago now, and really happy with it. It's kind of become my go-to hip pack. I cycle through a lot of different sling bags and hip packs, just kind of testing them out, but keep finding myself gravitating back towards this one. And I think the main reason for that is that it's pretty minimalist. Has a small footprint. The body here is about 9¼ inches wide, 5¼ inches tall, and only 3 inches in depth. But the material here is also a little bit more lightweight than Cordura. I don't think they advertise exactly what this blend of material is, but it's definitely weather resistant. Water beads off it, not waterproof, and durable. Seems to be very well built and has held up very well. The only marks I actually see on this are mostly on the backside, probably from rubbing up against my belt buckle, but not seeing a lot of markings on it. But the material is super lightweight, and so the pack empty only weighs in at 8 ounces, and so really great aspect of it. One other thing I like is that 5 out of the 6 color options I'd say are pretty gray man, pretty kind of neutral, don't scream super tactical like a lot of my packs do. And so I kind of like that aspect about it. It doesn't draw any extra eyes. If you saw someone wearing this, you wouldn't think it's tactical, but it is CCW capable and still built just like the multicam version, and that goes out the window. That one's obviously not so gray man, but it is available in multicam if that's something you're looking for. And I tried to kind of move away from that because I was ordering a few packs at the same time. I don't think I've reviewed any of those actually, so really far behind. But all of the other ones I ordered were some form of camo, so I just wanted something a little bit more neutral. So really love that aspect about it. Now, if there is one downside to the bag, I'd say it's the strap. The strap itself is excellent. It works well, especially as a hip pack, which is how I've been carrying this. Now, it extends up to 44 inches. I wear a size 32 pants, a large t-shirt, and for a hip pack, it works perfectly with room to spare. I've tried wearing it crossbody, and although I can get it around my body, I just find it to be a little bit short, a little bit constricting, and riding a little bit too high. And so I would probably, if I were going to use this as a sling, have to buy that extender. Now, they do sell an extender that adds an additional 13½ inches for only $5, so it's not like it breaks the bank or anything, but I could have used a little bit of a larger strap. I feel like I have a pretty average build, and so they definitely could have went a little bit larger for people that want to use it as a sling bag. Especially, you know, the name is Bando bag, and that's named after bandoliers, and of course people wear bandoliers crossbody, so it kind of implies that that's one of the options for wearing it. But for me, I find it's only really viable without that extender as a hip pack, and so that's probably my only downside. But the rest of the pack is great. You can see the material itself is a little bit kind of reflective as I move it around in the light. The strap is a thicker strap, I think about 1.5 inches or so thick. Really kind of overbuilt buckle, not too worried about that failing at all. We've got YKK zippers and easy access pulls on these. Now, that's another downside if you're someone who doesn't like these pulls. I find them to be fine, so I'm going to leave them. Obviously, I already have left them, but they do take off the standard YKK pull. So if you end up removing this, you're going to have to replace it with something. It doesn't have the original YKK pull on there, and so you do end up having to replace them. I think they're fine. They're quick grab, easy to access and use, and they look pretty good. They're also pretty silent. They don't make a lot of jingling or noise whatsoever, and so they're just fine. And these are reverse threaded, and so I don't think they're the AquaGuard, just kind of reverse threaded, which I do like so they don't scratch up things. If you're squeezing between cars or something and that zipper happens to run across a car, you're not going to scratch up the car. So I do like that reverse threaded aspect. They also have these corners where you can tuck the zipper in, which is nice, so that you can really close that up and get it out of the way. This opens pretty much the full width. It's probably about about 8 inches, not the 9¼ inches in this front pocket. And this is pretty generous in terms of the thickness. It's still a flat pocket, so if you don't put anything in there, it's gonna lie pretty flat, but you can put just your small dump items in there. Great for your keys, your change, USB flash drives, flashlights, small items like that. So I just have a couple items in there, including a keychain. And so just these small items, they don't really imprint too much because it's not as tight of a pocket as you get sometimes on the front side. There isn't a key keeper or anything like that, but it is a generous amount of space that you can get into very easily. You can see inside. It's pretty light material, so it's not super dark in there. And yeah, I find that pocket to be really great for those small items that you don't want bouncing around in the larger main pocket. Now the main pocket's actually very generous, pretty deceivingly large for a pack this size. And you can see that opens the full width, same zipper pull, and that lid opens up to expose this elastic band. Now that's made for tourniquets. I didn't put a tourniquet in there. I put my personal first aid kit. I've done a video on this one. I tend to, for first aid kits, I have my car first aid kit, my home first aid kit, but I'm very bad about carrying a dedicated individual first aid kit. So this small, tiny one has been the only one I've been able to consistently carry. And so I just threw that in that tourniquet strap, but great, especially if you're using this for carry, to put a tourniquet in there, have it right on the lid, easy access to it. Now, once we get past that, you can see there's a zippered mesh pocket in the back that expands the full width, as well as 2 slip pockets that split that in half. There's also your middle kind of cavernous storage space. And so in that space, I just have a Hank and a flashlight from Awesome Hank and Olight. And so this is the i5T, yeah, i5T Plus, and then nothing really else in there. Sometimes I'll put random items. It really depends on what I'm using it for, but it's great for just dropping random items. There's plenty of space, and because everything else is kind of pocketed, it is pretty well protected for whatever you put in there. Great for larger items as well. But we do have that back zipper pocket. This is where I keep my wallet, and so I have the Cruiser 4.0 in here, have the Vero Neuron, or no, not Neuron, it's a Vero Vortex Lite bit driver and bit storage solution with a pocket pen, and so able to carry 2 or 3 cards, some patches, although I have the Cruiser silencer on there right now. Larger wallet, and it's just kind of out of the way, has 2 zippers before you're able to access it, so nice and secure in there, and keeping it separate from everything else in the pack. Now we do have the 2 slip pockets up front, and those are pretty wide. I'm not taking full advantage of those right now, and honestly I just kind of dump whatever I'm testing out for the day, whatever I'm carrying in there. So right now I have the Gondek EDC Pry. I think this is the Persuader, I want to say. I always get it wrong. It could be the Evader, I'm not 100% sure, but one of their pries from Gondek EDC, as well as the Chavez Chubb out the front auto, which I just did a video on. You can see I kind of went with a blue theme, although they're all slightly different shades of it, but plenty of organization in here. And because of that 3-inch depth, you're able to make use of probably a good 2.5 inches in depth there. Pretty thick items, which is great. And again, really nice access to that. That lid peels back pretty nicely. Even though this doesn't wrap all the way around, as you can see, it kind of stops a little bit early. That lid opens up pretty wide to expose whatever's in there. And I've been able to put like my camera in there. I have a pretty small camera, but able to put that in there no problem, which is nice as well for going to like local events and whatnot. Now on the back, we do have this zipper pocket that has 2 zipper pulls. You can see every other pocket only has 1 zipper pull, and this is your kind of CCW pocket, and so that's a reason they have 2 zipper pulls. Now I don't actually use this for CCW. I'm in California, I'm working on getting my permit, but don't actually currently use it for CCW, but this will fit smaller frame items, I guess you want to say, for YouTube's sake, and quick access with those pulls. If I were going to be using it for CCW, I'd probably remove the left pull, and that way you don't accidentally grab onto it when you're trying to get in here more rapidly. I think most people would advocate for just carrying it on body. Even if you're using the hip pack, use the hip pack to carry everything else like your first aid kit and whatnot, carry your CCW on body. But if you do insist on carrying it in a bag, remove this one so you can't accidentally grab it in those high pressure situations, and then keep it on the side that you want, and then you can rapidly get in here, pull it out of its holster, and have it ready to go. I do have a log and jotter in there. It's great for small flat items as well. It does come with a loop. I'm almost positive I put a different one in there. So it does come with a small holster. Theirs is a little bit smaller. This one looks like the Van Quest one, so did end up swapping that out. I'm not 100% sure what I did with that loop. I have 1,000 of them, and I don't know if it has a tag on it. If it doesn't, it would probably be hard for me to identify that loop, but there is the whole hook and loop field back here. Best way to do it is to take those measurements, 9 1/4 by 5 1/4, cut out a piece of paper. They recommend cutting off maybe a 1/2 inch from the edges so that it's a little bit smaller, can account for those seams. And then you can just place your item right there on that piece of paper to see if it will fit in here. If it doesn't, you can go for the XL, which will hold more full frame items. And so that's all the pockets for this one. Not a ton of crazy organization. I find that the main pocket has just enough. Everything else is minimal enough. Worth noting, there's no key keeper in this front pocket, which I actually appreciate. I don't use them anyway. Even if I put my keys in there, I don't put them on the keeper. And so I appreciate not having one in there, but for those that do like a dedicated key keeper, there is not one on this pack. But also worth noting, I think I might have mentioned, or I might not have also, that Eberlestock is based out of Boise, Idaho. However, these packs in particular are made in Vietnam. I'm not 100% sure about every pack, which ones are made here in America versus which ones are made in Vietnam, but this is made in Vietnam, which may be one of the reasons that they were able to keep the cost down a little bit, but I do find it to be incredibly well built. So let me know what you think of this one down in the comments below. If you have any questions about it, always happy to test it out with different items, assuming that I have them. And anything else you'd like to comment, always appreciate the feedback and just the engagement. But thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, joining the channel as a member. All help the channel out a ton, and as always, hope you have a great one. Take care.